Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Delta Stream podcast. This is our pilot episode. Quick introductions. I'm Mason, MSU game dev student and Pokemon player.
I'm Chris, former MSU game dev student, current Pokemon player.
I'm Lily, also an MSU game dev student and a Pokemon player.
I wonder where we met.
Wow. Ooh.
So, anyway, the Delta Stream podcast. This is podcast for our team. As you can see on Chris's shirt there, Delta Division. We kind of wanted to record a podcast and sort of document our.
I don't know if that got picked up on the camera.
It did,
at all.
Blurred a little bit, but it's fine.
We wanted to kind of record like our progress through the game because we all kind of feel like we're at a point where we're like finally. Well, two of us feel like we're at a point where we're finally improving, and one of us is just kind of the goat.
One of us is already pretty good.
One of us is just already really good. We felt like we had enough to talk about. I think the joke I made was like, I feel like I'm narcissistic enough to start a podcast.
That was the exact.
That was
quote.
the-
Listen, I think I'm full of myself enough to to get something like this
So
going.
we figured like, why not give it a go?
Mm-hmm.
But what is Delta Division?
Yeah, you might be wondering if you're not from Michigan, which is where we're located. You might be wondering what Delta Division is. If you're from Michigan, you're probably wondering what Delta Division is. We are a Pokemon team based in mid-Michigan, primarily composed of MSU students and alumni. We all got started through the Pokemon Club here, which I was one of the founding members of. And the team is basically a bunch of us decided we wanted to pool our money and buy a logo and buy jerseys. And that's about all you need to do to get a team going. No sponsorships or anything fancy like that. We're certainly not that good yet. But yeah, we're a mutual group of friends. I think there's about 10 to 15 of us on like the
Somewhere in there.
active roster. We don't have
I
a
think it
super
was
hard
12, and now it's like 13 or 14 now.
Yeah, we don't have like a super hard and fast roster. Mostly we don't like do super hardcore collaborative deck building or anything like that. It's mostly just getting together and working on a lot of play testing and mutual improvement for one another. I think that's the gist of it. Nothing too serious.
Yeah, so I guess a little bit of a deeper introduction to our members. Again, Mason, game dev student. We've been playing since about Scarlet Violet became legal. I believe the first deck I ever played was Arctura, and that was pretty fun. Played that for a while, and eventually I think I went straight from Arctura to POW, and I've been on POW for like then until now with some Terrapagos splashed in there, but that's been pretty much it. A little bit of Lost Box. Generally, I would say I'm a POW player.
How'd you get into the game, Mason?
How'd I get into the game? Long story short, I needed new friends. So I went to Pokemon Club because that was something that I had always liked as a kid. Got there, met all these awesome people, and a couple people, Lily, Christian, specifically Christian, were like, you need to play the game. You got to play the card game. I was like, I don't know. I kind of just collect. Eventually they went to, not Indianapolis, the other in
Fort Wayne.
Fort Wayne. They went to Fort Wayne, and I wasn't going, and they already had a hotel and everything. And then I got like FOMO, and I was super bored. So it's just like, hey, can I sleep in your hotel? And they were like, yeah, I guess. So I didn't play. That was where I built Arctura, and I've been playing ever since.
What was your first actual regional? Is that Milwaukee?
My first actual regional.
Might
have been
I
Milwaukee.
feel like it has to be Milwaukee.
It has
Was it
to be Milwaukee
Milwaukee?
because you didn't compete in Fort Wayne. You just went as a spectator.
Yeah, so
to
I would
hang
say
out.
probably
And
Milwaukee.
We ended up hitting each other at
We did,
Milwaukee.
especially because I was in Chicago at the time, so it was a very short
Yeah,
drive
that's
for me.
right. It was drivable to you. Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely my first regional was 2023 Milwaukee, or was it 24? I don't remember.
23.
It was 23, 20.
Okay, 23 Milwaukee.
Cool. I'm Chris. Once again. Hi Goblin. You
He's
got
here.
our
He's present. Sorry.
extra special fourth guest host, our fourth member. I'm Chris. I've been playing for a little over 2.5 years, close to 3 years, because Astral Radiance was when I first started going to IRL events. It was sanctioned locals hadn't come back at that point, but there was just some card shops sort of normal tournaments around me. My first regional ever was Toronto that year in 2022. Our local Judge and TO Chris DeRocher, who you might be familiar with if you're from Michigan at all. He's been playing forever and ever. Organized a trip for a lot of us to head out there, and I just absolutely fell in love with the hobby and everything. Playing competitively from that point onwards. So it was like how I got into it. I played a lot when I was a kid. Big Pokemon guy, collected the cards and all that stuff. Never really played the game when I was younger because who knew how that worked when they were a kid. But then once I got into college, a buddy of mine, he bought a bunch of theme decks and started working out how to actually play the game, and roped me into it, and I just fell way harder and faster into things than he did. He really doesn't play much competitively, but I just completely off the deep end, diving into like Limitless and all the online tournaments and everything happening at that point in the game. But yeah, about 2.5 years. I've kind of played a lot of different decks. I played the biggest one I'm on right now is Miraidon and Guardy are the two I've joined the most throughout the Scarlet and Violet era, with a lot of POW mixed in there as well. But formerly I did like Reggie's and had a really fun Gengar build I tried to make work for a while, but that's my deck history is a little too extensive to get into here right now. But that's basic intro to me and how I got to this point in the game.
All right. Hi, I'm Lily. I'm game dev student also. I started the game around Silver Tempest release. That's the first event I ever went to. I believe, Chris, I know you were there. I don't know who else dragged me out with you. It might have been Christian also. They dragged me out to Silver Tempest pre-release and
Definitely Christian.
You were there though. I remember, like,
Yeah.
I fought you in the last round. You killed me at the stupid Metagross that, like, when you top deck it, you can spawn on your deck and draw 3.
Oh yeah,
Stupid
absolute
card. Destroyed me in the pre-release.
Pre-release spice.
But anyways, that was my first event ever, and I just fell in love with playing the game. Christian, that was when TCG, what's it called? Like, is it just called Online? The old
TCGO,
client?
yeah,
Yeah,
online.
yeah. That Christian like sent me 4 Rayquaza V and VMAX on there, and I was like, I really want to play this deck, and I played it. It was terrible. My first regional was Fort Wayne. I played it then, and probably the worst deck list ever. 3/4 Flaffy line. Yeah, no. Anyways,
Plaza
that's where it
VMAX
all
to a regional is
started.
insane.
But it was ever since then I kind of just fell in love with the game. Summer of 2023, I went to like every local event in the state. Went to like a million league challenges, didn't win a single one. Just I got really obsessed with the game. I've been to a ton of regionals now. I went to Milwaukee, Peoria, Pittsburgh, Charlotte, um, Orlando, Indianapolis, and then NAIC, both in 2023 and 2024. And then, of course, Toronto and Louisville. So I've been obsessed with going to the regionals now. I just love the competitive aspect of the game. I've been on a lot of decks. There's too many to list, but the main ones people probably know me for are Raging Bolt, Sandy Shocks, and I guess Gardevoir now because I've been on a crazy tear of it recently. But
So I think you're absolutely more of a Gardevoir player than you ever
yeah,
were a Bolts
just
player.
people know me on like social media for Raging Bolt solely because Orlando Regionals. That was my first day too, and I got Raging Bolt, Sandy Shocks, the Limitless page, and then immediately after Indianapolis, I got a second one. And I haven't day two'd since, but I'll do
Yeah,
that at
who keeps track of that?
I'll do it at Atlanta or Milwaukee or something. It'll be fine.
I suppose that's I was gonna say that's a decent enough semi segue into our next topic. Well, I guess overall, we can do one last round table about any achievements their group has, which is gonna be a bit of an imbalance here. Achievements and accomplishments throughout playing the game. Mason, what have you accomplished?
I got second at a cup one time with POW. That's probably most of it.
Mason, do you want to admit what beat you at that one cup?
No, I don't actually.
That's fair.
The sauce beat me. I lost a scoop of
was Sauce.
Cyclone. That card single-handedly demolished
It's
me.
Arcaludon. It's
No,
Yeah.
no.
Um,
Let's just say there was a lot of wings in the deck, and
a
I wasn't
lot of
able to
birds
take enough
around.
prizes against any of them.
A lot of birds. Yeah, for me, it's not a much deeper story. I have a cup win under my belt, and a lot of top eights and stuff for that. A smattering of challenge wins all around for all three of us. I think I'm the only one that's capped right now.
Missing 2, I
But
think.
like, yeah, I just went to a lot in this season. Lily has actual accomplishments under your belt. You mentioned a couple of
I have them pulled
day
up.
twos and stuff.
Did I put
Yeah,
them
I've
on?
got the 2 day 2s from Orlando and Indianapolis. Neither of them are cash finishes. It's top 256 Orlando, top 128 Indy, but those are nice. Last season I had 3 cup seconds, I believe, and then this season I have 3 cup firsts now, all with Gardevoir. So okay, last
Crazy.
season it was with 2 Golden Go. No, Golden. I don't remember. It was like Golden Go and Raging Bolt were 2 of them.
That sounds about right for what you were
I,
on at
I
that
I don't
point.
remember what the third cup second would have been with, but anyways, those are, and I've got challenge finishes, but they're almost all of Guardy except like a Reggie Drago second place because I was bored and wanted to play something else, and it was like a 4-person challenge. It doesn't really count, but
Hmm.
How
yeah,
did
that
you?
was a coin flip for you getting your last win because we
It
both had the
was.
exact same resistance and placement, all top
Yeah.
3 out of the 4 players.
Everyone, I think, yeah, everyone at that cup went like 2-1 or something or
Yeah,
the cup
except
challenge went
for
like 2-1 or something like that. And it was a three-way
yeah, and
resistance coin
except
flip.
for Adrian and 4 for like 1-2 or something. So
He made
then
the sacrifice.
it was just a coin flip between me, June, and Chris for who got first, second, and who bubbled points. So
Hmm. But not a crazy amount of accomplishments to share around this podcast, which is kind of
Yet.
intrinsic. Yet that's the big thing. That's kind of
yeah,
intrinsic
yeah,
to the core of why you're doing this. Who wants to listen to, 3 random people who certainly don't have a lot under their belt to talk about the game? Um, and it's kind of the point of the cast is that we're, no offense to my other hosts, but nobodies right now,
A little bit.
not relevant players whatsoever. But we don't always want to be that way. We're on the up and up. We're grinding to get better. We're nobody's right now. We might be somebody's one day. Who's to say? And it's going to be fun to have this record of more in-depth record rather of how we've improved over time and how our achievements have grown. It's kind of the point of why we're getting this going here.
Yeah. Um. So, I guess to move on from that, at least we can go more in depth on Lily's recent Guardy tear through the state of Michigan. I would say Lily's probably been the most dominant player in the state for like the last 2 or 3 weeks.
There's
Within the state,
There's
Ohio doesn't count.
okay. I was gonna
okay.
say
Ohio
Well,
doesn't count.
if we're talking purely about Michigan
Really,
results,
Michigan. We're a Michigan team.
yeah,
Michigan
there's a
results.
certain someone from Michigan who got second place at San Antonio the same day I got a cup win.
yeah. I don't. And so maybe another close friend of ours who just took down a huge league cup at a certain notable game store in Ohio.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about exclusively Michigan results, Lily, she's kind of the queen right now.
2
That's what I
league
would
cups
say.
in a row in Michigan. So
2 league cups. That was
Mhm.
crazy.
That was pretty crazy.
We got held hostage at one.
I mean, I
It's
kind of held June and Adrian hostage at the
it's
second
it's
one too.
always
So
it's always like I'm happy I always I
Oh
usually
yeah.
drive myself to these things. Carpool into a league cup is always fun, but it's kind of the double two-sided sword or whatever of like, yay, my friend made cut. I'm happy for them. Also, we have to be here another 3 hours or something
yeah,
like that.
exactly. It's
It's
So
I
always
it's
worth
just
it
certainly the
feel
though.
full
bad for
3 hours when it's freaking Gardevoir going that far with Lily. So
Gardevoir. I
Okay,
know
okay,
you
hold
played.
on. In top 4 at least, I finished my game before the other top 4 match, and it was Moon versus Arcaludon. That is not a
That is
that is a
crazy because you
2
were playing. Were you playing block in top four or was that finals?
that no, I didn't
this
hit
is
block.
this is the
Oh,
I'm
the one
talking. I'm talking
oh,
about
yesterday.
the
you're
first one.
oh, okay. The other cup, no, that one I finished for. No, that one I didn't finish first. The
No,
Terapagos match, I hit
yeah, that
Terapagos
Tropical
in
match.
top 4, and then Block Lax in finals. And the Terapagos
Mhm.
match was game 1 was long, but game 2 was just they didn't set up. So But
Notably,
game one is an insanely long match. It's one of my favorite matches that I did not deserve a win from, but I got it somehow. So
I think notably the first cup wasn't in Prismatic, so there was
Yes.
no Badu.
yes,
So the Terrapagos matchup was
Mhm.
probably a lot more even.
I don't know when this is going to get uploaded. We were recording this on February 2nd. So yesterday, technically Friday, but yesterday was like the first weekend. It was Saturday, and that was the first when the first most of the tournaments in Prismatic format were being held. The weekend previously, a week ago, was Lily's other cup win that was still in Surging Sparks, but she was on a Guardy
yes,
for both.
yeah.
Hmm.
Though notably Drifloon Luscardi, which
Yes. Do we want to move on to?
I can
Do
I
you
can
have your list ready to pull
I
up,
can pull
Mason?
that deck list up right
'Cause
now.
we
Here we
should
go.
definitely talk about
So
that.
here's the
It's
list.
kind of
okay. Which one are
And the
which one are we
tweet.
talking
I'm looking at
about? 'Cause
Lily's
they're two.
list. I have your
Well,
list
yeah,
pulled up.
Rich Drifloon list, because I
The
Let's talk
Sylvan
about
list.
Sylvan
I have the
because that's
Sylvan
more.
list right now.
I don't know who cares about Searching Sparks right now.
yeah, the Surging Sparks format one is pretty similar. It just removes Badu. I think I actually forgot what I cut Badu. What I cut for Badu. Hold on.
Was it Klefki?
I don't even. Oh, I cut an Iona for Badu. Okay.
Iona.
Anyways,
Okay. But
this list is
there's
this
nothing
started.
special about it, I would say. I'm just
Nothing
kidding.
Yeah,
special.
no,
Nothing
Very
crazy.
there's
standard.
no
Very
there's
standard
no
Guardian list. No spice
there's
at
no
all.
notable card that I'm pretty sure doesn't have a day two ever that won me the cup. But anyways, this it's loosely based off of Henry Chow's Masterclass. Fairly certain that's what it's from. Someone sent me a deck list from Henry Chow's Masterclass. I'm pretty sure, and it's a list based off of more of a spread type of Gardevoir. So you've got the Devo. There was Dedenne from Surging Sparks as a way to loop Devo and Unfair Stamp. I took and it had Cresselia from Shroud of Fable, which is the original like basis for cheap like a basic attacker that stays in play versus like Drifloon you can Lost Vacuum it or Dusclops it. Cresselia you peel off it, so it's out of Dusclops range. You can only Dusknoir it or you have to attack it physically, and it still swings 160 the next turn.
To be clear, Mason, I don't know if you can pull up an image of that card. This is not the Lost Origin Cresselia
No,
that Moonglow
this
reverse
is
Find
moves
it.
damage counters. This is Shrouded Fable Cresselia, and I don't know if anyone's ever read this text or announced this attack in a tournament other than you, Lily.
Here's the Cresselia.
You have it pulled up. Yeah. What
Yeah.
does that card do?
Crescent Purge 80 plus. You may turn one of your face down prize cards face up, and if you do this, attack does 80 more damage for 3 psychic.
Yeah.
So it's not great. I can't lie. It with Defiance Band in the list and Monkey Dory, you can push it up to swinging 190 like Gardevoir would, except as a single prizer, or push it up further with like double Monkey Dory and Defiance. That gives you all the way up to what 190.
240, right?
Yeah, 250,
250?
which is
Okay.
pretty nice, but that's really situational. You've got to have double Monkey Dory, and you got to be behind on prizes to use Defiance. It's not terrible, but I was hoping for something a little bit more damage. And while yes, I could just use Drifloon with no Bravery Charm to do like 180, it still suffers the issue of Dusclops is a major problem, and you can't Monkey Dory off it.
Mm.
So as we're coming up to Prismatic format, after the first League Cup, which I won of Cresselia, Chris jokingly mentioned this Enamorus, and I was like, I'm surprised you've never tested this.
Oh,
And
that's right. I forgot I was the one that gave you that idea. I'll take credit.
I
I
was
take
like-
credit for the win.
I was like,
I was
that card sucks.
joking.
I'd rather use Paradox Rift Latios.
You're
Which,
right, it
no,
does suck.
Paradox Rift Latios sucks because it discards the energy, which helps in like a block lax matchup. But the problem is that it doesn't stay active as an attacker. So if it dies, they can just kill Guardy, and then it's stuck. It's stuck. It doesn't do anything.
Real quick,
So-
Mason, I don't know if you pulled that image up.
The
Latios
Enamorus?
she's referencing.
I do have it up.
I was saying the Latios she was talking
Oh,
about
the
as one of the
Latios, or
options for a
Latios.
non
I'm pretty sure it's 180 discard 3 energy from this Pokemon.
Yeah, for a psychic colorless.
Oh.
All these attackers are triple
Which
psychic.
set is it?
Which it's Paradox Rift.
Oh, my fault.
They're all
wrong
like
one.
a blend of triple of like psychic
3
colorless.
energy for
colorless.
big damage.
Yeah, and
That's
the
the
3
idea.
energy is specific, so you can.
Except Cresselia specifically 3 psychic, while the other ones are pretty sure are 1 psychic, 2 colorless.
Correct.
The Latios is 2 psychic, 1
Latios
colorless.
is 2 psychic.
But Enamorus
the-
is 1 psychic.
Three energy being relevant because you can double monkey off. That was specifically what you were looking for.
Yeah,
Anyways, sorry.
though there's not really many other psychic attackers to begin with. Like if there was one of 2 energy costs that did big damage, I would use it, but it doesn't really exist as a basic at least.
There's the Lake
So I don't know.
Trio Mesprit, I think, but I don't think you're going to run that.
No, you
No.
have to run 2. That's too situational and it does 160. I just use Cresselia at that point. But
Enamorous, though.
the Enamorous, I was laying in bed. I was like, I want Guardy to be better, and I'm just scrolling through the Limitless pages and looking at deck lists and their average counts. And June was with me, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I was just I was clicking like Zard, and I was like, "All right, 1," because there's like 1 matched card with Luminion V, and I go to the next one. I'd say 2, and she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, did not respond. This one's 4. This one's 1. Like, almost every deck has a match in some way to Water or Psychic, and then with Grass, with Budded, there's even more matches. Almost every deck has some card that matches with it. Almost every Turbo deck has Radiant Greninja. Uh, almost like a lot of the Bolt, Budu is another option too. Like there's just so many
Ogre Pond.
matches. Yeah, Ogerpon is a match. For Golden Go, for example, Gimme Ghoul is a match, which they have to
Mm.
play. Like, and most Golden Go lists
Togekiss.
are, yeah, Togekiss also. Most Golden Go lists have Palkia. I just play the Manaphy to protect myself, and then Cresselia, the Enamorous does its job. It's just there's so many situations where you can just get this card to work. So I thought it was worth the extra 40 damage for the payoff of for the little bit of risk you run into some matchups, because almost every matchup is going to end up doing it. Because you can still do 80 with it, which isn't good, but you can still use it as an attacker in the worst case scenario. Like you use Fluttermane as an attacker for Devo plays by chipping 90 into active and Devoing. So it has like some use case otherwise, but generally the 200 damage comes up often enough that I think it's a decent card. I don't know if it's a good card, but I think it's decent as a I don't know. I'm just trying to play Guardy without Drifloon. I don't
Yeah.
like Lost Vacuum and Bravery Charm, so I thought this was a cool way to go about doing it, and it worked. It won me a cup. So
Mm-hmm.
That's really
Yeah.
sick.
I'll be honest. In what you've been telling me about it outside of the podcast as well. I'm also getting back onto Guardy. I played it a lot when it came out, realized I was not smart enough for that, and then now I'm back on it because it's absurdly good. We can talk about. I played it at the same cup, got top 8. We can talk about my list and stuff in a minute here. I'm still very Drifloon pilled. I think it's awesome to be able to do 300 damage, even if it does come with some inherent risks. But you have done a decent job of selling me on this Enamorous, certainly as an alternative, because yeah, like you ran through a lot of them, but like a lot of Pokemon playing Radiant Greninja right now. So you can match that with your Manaphy or your own Radiant Greninja. Ogerpon still pretty prevalent. You got Badoo in the deck, Psychic as a support Pokemon. Again, there's like so many. Again, if you just look at all the deck lists that exist right now, there are a lot of
Mew
a lot of
EX is
matching
in like
Pokemon types. Mew
every
EX,
turbo
yeah.
deck.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's
Best of 3, which you did again, notably win a cup with it. So you did play best of 3 matches with this card. It's probably going to be a little bit easier for your opponents to play around it.
Once they know
A
it's
deck like
there.
Raging Bolt and Drago can't not put Ogerpon down. But Turbo,
debatably Greninja for Bull also. Like
yeah, Greninja is pretty key to a lot of Turbo decks. That some of them are already really struggling into you, anyways. But like Golden Go might not always go the Palkia route.
Golden Go always has Gimme Ghoul.
They always
So
have Gimme Goal. That's true.
almost
That
always
was a
has
bad
Gimme Ghoul.
example.
If
But
they
like,
set up a board of no Greninja, no Palkia, all Golden Goes, then good for them. But
not everything's
They're
putting
gonna
down
be able
like
to do
like
that
Mew
very
EX. I think Mew
fast.
EX is the best example for a couple of these turbo decks.
yeah, like
Um,
Moon, for example, if they don't play the Greninja and like if they don't play the Greninja and don't play Mew or Latias, then damn, yeah, I can't use it. But
yeah,
Honestly,
you're
though,
kind of
forcing them to not play those cards is probably
yeah,
enough
that's like the
value
thing.
on its own.
That
Like
yeah,
you're
that's
limiting
I was
their draw.
I was gonna say they can play the game without them, but it's gonna hurt. And they really would like to have them in play, and it's just kind of a liability. Um, so I don't know. I mean,
I
it'll
think the
be
only
interesting.
matchup that might be shaky is Lugia. But if they played Luminion, then don't
I was
keep
gonna
the
say it's kind
Luminion
of hard
just
for them to get going without
Again, like,
Luminion.
yeah,
yeah. But like it's a little shaky because they of course can totally just not set
they
up, especially
can.
in a BL3. That they might just be like, okay, well, Guardy's already slow anyways. It's fine to play a little slower just to avoid them using their best attacker into my Pokemon. Especially when it does 200, you can use it to revenge kill Iron Hands with just a Monkey Dory ping. Well, if Guardy, you'd need 2 or Defiance or something.
True.
So
Yeah.
it's
No, that
But you
extra
still
10
have those
damage
options.
to break point past Guardian's 190 to knock out some of these 230 HP basics. That's very valuable, especially when you don't have you're not left with a Drifloon in the active
yeah,
that has like 10 HP left or can be, vacuumed to kill.
yeah,
The one other inclusion in your list, I think you mentioned this earlier because Chow talked about it, or two other inclusions. You mentioned it earlier because it was loosely based on some list that Chow was talking about. Not what he won the regional with, ironically enough, but I think previously.
yeah,
Tool cards, Devolution, and Defiance Band. Defiance Band honestly makes a lot of sense in this list, especially because of how much more frequently you're attacking with Guardian nowadays. That's pushing it
yeah,
into just raw 220 with its attack before your Monkey Dory pinging, which is going to get you a lot of extra damage, or can let that damage go somewhere else on the board to prep a KO for later. You're playing from behind anyways, as Guardy tends to, being an evolving deck, and you want to activate your counter catchers and all that jazz. That seems like a pretty logical, not spicy conclusion. Similarly, Devolution giving you more plays. You have a lot of damage counter manipulation with your double monkeys. Your Fluttermane can do some funny business
yeah.
as well. Uh, I'll let you explain what specific matchups it's useful in. I assume just the evolving decks like Zard and
Bolt.
Dragapult and
It's
all that
really
stuff.
just Zard and Dragapult because you can't kill Zard and Dragapult easily. It's almost impossible to get them at all because the max you can do in a turn, if you're lucky, without tempting trap damage, of course, is 290 with double Monkey Dory and Defiance Band. Which, yeah, you can use it to kill a Pidgeot, which is pretty nice, but it's just really tough of a matchup otherwise. So if you're playing like a big rare candy build, it's usually fine because you can always Budu to slow down the early game until you get Monkey Dory consistently going. And then you've got Devo as your option for just after everything's set up. All right, Devo, Unfair Stamp, good luck. Get the multiple rare candies you need, especially if I've got something like Fluttermane in the active. Zard can't evolve in the active. Dragapult, it's a little shakier because Dragapult's just, I think, objectively a stronger deck than Zard right now, especially into a deck like Guardy where it wants to play single prizers all the time. Even if you do have Monkey Dory to heal off damage, it's just kind of tough because you've got all these like baby attackers that are very easy to kill, especially with Curlia being just 80 HP. It
Hmm.
just it's a bit of a tougher matchup. But again, Devo works well. The problem is more just Drakloak's also 90 HP. Well,
And I think Dragapult's more likely to have, whereas like Zard might have like one Charmeleon in play, like a Zard on a Charmeleon. I feel like Dragapult's a lot more likely to have like two or three as a Dracloak on a under a
exactly, yeah.
Dragapult.
Mhm.
So that matchup generally is just can you get all the damage down quick enough or have such an impactful wipe turn that you can win.
Very much so. I guess we can also talk about your run specifically at the cup yesterday. Also, there's some context on the cup. It's at a shore called Sylvan Factory, a city a little bit far away from us. It was run by our friend and team member Max. This is his second ever cup at Sylvan. And honestly, I just a props to him right off the
Big
bat.
shout out.
Solo judge. Uh, First
Running a
cup was about
25-person
20.
cup.
Was this cup only 25 people?
I think it was 27 of like juniors and
Okay.
seniors.
I was gonna say, yeah, it was not a huge cup, but like pretty decently sized. Solo Judge ran incredibly smoothly. Like
Yeah.
almost no downtime between matches. Calls were pretty quick and efficient. He had that stuff nailed down. And yeah, it was just a really good event. So shout out to our friend and teammate Max at Sylvan Factory. But Lily, at this cup that you won yesterday, what kind of matchups did you hit, and were there any notable moments in those you want to point out?
Round one, my opponent flips over Heatran. I don't remember what set it is. It might be the new one. It's the
uh,
one that discards all the steel energies from itself to do
Sounds
50
like
times.
Twilight Masquerade.
And I flipped over a Namorous as my first card. So we're both just
What's going
staring
on?
at what is that? What are you playing? Like it was really fun. I won because they whiffed a Metal Maker on like turn 2. They need to hit 1 energy to knock out an Enamorus. They whiffed it. So I got just a lot more setup as a result. And it came down to like 1 prize versus his 2, and I just had a I had a Monkey Dory knockout active. Well, Monkey Dory knock out a bench Pokemon, then kill active for 2 prizes to win the game. It was a lot closer than I'd expect. Round 2 was Lost Box with Budu. That
Mm.
I lost that match because they Budu'd me for like 8 turns or something really high, and I just didn't get a Ralts down. And like they ended up getting like a Greninja play because I couldn't get the Manaphy down, and I unfair stamped them with an Arven I searched earlier and tried to set up, but it just wasn't quick enough, and they got it. Round 3 was against my girlfriend June. She's on Zard with Grand Tree. Really cool list because it has Pidgeotto and like 2 Charmeleons, and it's almost impossible for me to set up Devo the way I want to in that matchup. But she
Really,
led Lumineon. I Budu'd 5 times in a row. She Iono'd 4 Sealstone for 1 Charmander. I killed it. She ends up like bringing it back. This is after I've killed like Lumineon and Charmander in the same turn. I'm 3 prizes up. She has no setup. It just felt really mean, but I won that game. Like she ended up like getting Pidgeot and then trying to quick search a Flutter into active. Realized that was illegal and just scooped instantly because I won the next turn anyways. Monkey Dory paying the Pidgeot Devo for my last prize card because she
so
had a Charizard up at that point, so I couldn't kill that. Round
classic. What is it? Legal deck search and never mind. I scoop.
No need to call
I
a
was,
judge. This game's
I
over.
was literally
Yeah.
5 prizes up. Like it makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, that game was over anyways.
Yeah. Round 4 was Bull. I didn't set up quick enough. I managed to bring it back with I did 200 like 60 to a Bull that was charmed, so 30 HP left. They switch carded it, which screwed up my plan of winning the next turn. So I had to ping it with Monkey Dory and Tempting Trap a Ogerpon of 0 energy, so they couldn't kill the Ogerpon because they used both Switch Cart and Prime Catcher at that point. They do stuff during a turn, but nothing that matters. Pass over to me, retreat the Mawile, promote Gardevoir, Monkey Dory 30 to knock out the Bull, and then Guardy for like 100 and 200 something because of Tempting Trap to kill Ogerpon for game in time. Round 5, I just ID'd because it was relatively safe. And then all my opponents except for my round 1 opponent on Heatran lost that round, so except for Lost Box who ID'd, so I dropped to the lowest resistance, but there was 1-3-2 bubble in anyway, so
I was gonna
3-1-1
say,
was
Oh, so it was still
3-1-1
definitely
was
safe.
safe
yeah,
because both the 2-1-1s lost.
Very
So
safe.
it was kind of
didn't
with the
matter.
amount of people at the cup, it was kind of weird, but all the 3-1s made it, 3-1-1s made it, and even a 3-2 made it in. So it was a very safe ID.
Top 8. Instantly, I hit a Gardevoir mirror against Alex Szymanski. Yeah, that was a fun game. Round 1, he Itchy Pollens a million times. I just didn't set up fast enough. He had like 2-3 prizes up before I could get anything back. I just kind of lost it from the start. I don't really remember game 2 other than I kind of wrestled it back. I went second and just had the I don't know. I think I just like managed to win it because I had more aggro just from being second and setting up quicker. Game 3, he had the advantage because he went second, but I don't really get how I managed to come back. I think I killed. Oh, I got rid of like almost all his draw by killing the Curlias.
I was gonna say I was watching that game near the end, and you're just kind of picking apart his board state and disrupting him a lot.
really
Yeah,
leveraging the more spread build of your deck versus his.
Mhm.
yeah. No, that game I didn't use an Amorous once. I will say during this tournament I hadn't used an Amorous except for round 1 against Heatran and round 4 against Bolt. It's not
It's not
useful in
pulling
the
its
Zard
weight.
matchup. Lost Box, they're not gonna play. They didn't play a single 2-prizer down. Not helpful then. I didn't play my round 5 because I ID'd. It is good against Arcaludon. Um, Yeah, so I won it after a close game against Shemansky. If I didn't win that turn with a Monkey Dory ping to take my last prize, I think no Flutter Mane 2 damage from Hex Hurl to take my last prize. He won the next turn and final round of turns, I believe. No, it would have went to sudden death, but
I was
we're
gonna
both
say that would have
we're
been a
both at one
sudden
prize,
death.
so it didn't matter. Top 4 was Lost Box. Game 1 was pretty close. I just set up a lot better than I did in the first game. So yeah, the game 2 I led Flutter Mane. They don't run bundle.
Oh no.
Oh, wait, this was Lost Box, you said?
Yes, they don't run
Oh,
bundle.
yeah, that's that.
Yeah,
Bundle's got to
mm,
be necessary.
they prized boss too.
Oh,
Oh,
So
oh.
they had Prime Catcher at one
I was
point,
gonna
but like
say
it
if
just kind of
Prime
fell
Catcher was
apart.
around, that would be their only into the game. But the second you get your Guardy set up and you just get that Flutter main swing
just
and
so
much
take your
momentum.
prizes.
Flutter Mane and just Monkey Dory over and over. It was no, it was over. So it was just unfortunate for them. Finals against Moon. Game 1, they lead. They go second. Lead Roaring Moon. EX attach energy pass. I TM Evo. They attach energy pass. I promote Budu. I Itchy Pollen while trying to get a Monkey Dory and some energy and discard. They attach energy. Boss Curlia. Knockout. I promote Curlia. I evolve to Gardevoir. Arven. Defiance Band. Knockout because of the damage from Itchy Pollen. Game 1's over. Uh, then game 2 was a lot more reasonable of a game. He got 2 prizes before I could really do much, and I ended up, but he bench locks himself. So I counter catcher Squawk, Mawile, Tempting Trap, and
Mhm.
ping Latias. I ping Lot, and then this just happens for about like 10 turns, I want to say, until I play Turo to remove Pokemon, put energy back on, until I have enough damage to knock out Latias. I kind of misplayed a little because I was gonna use Guardy as an attacker, which I don't like that much because if he had like Judge, for example, that could
In
have
that
screwed me
Moon
over
matchup,
bad.
especially, that's just never what you want to
Like
have
it
happen.
was kind of stupid because I could have just Latias. I could have just Tempting Trapped for game. I didn't need to go for Tempting Trap, kill Latias with ping damage, and then kill Squawk inactive. But I did because I wanted to win by prize cards. I felt lame doing Tempting Trap. I think in the future I will just go for plain Tempting Trap and just win normally rather than doing that. But he's a local that I've had a lot of like just fun games against before. I wanted it to be more fun,
Just want to do him
but
right.
he didn't. Yeah, he
Yeah.
didn't get the Judge. He kills my Gardevoir. I have Gardevoir in hand. Nest Ball and Amorous promote. We both have Radiant Greninja on bench. Psychic Embrace 3, Monkey Dory 3, and Amorous for 200 for game.
Oh,
So
Namor's won the tournament, is what I'm hearing.
And Amherst
yes,
winning the tournament is pretty awesome.
and
It's a nice
Amorous
full
was the
circle
winning
moment.
turn, which I was really happy to see.
Yeah. I will say this Moon player, given in the business with Mawile, it hurts to hear that because, or at least from his perspective, because he was the player who ultimately ended up knocking me out in top 8, but I faced him during Swiss, and Mawile was also high. I won my game against him.
Ooh.
But I can get into. I'll let you finish. I'll get into that when I do my recap of how the cup went.
I'm not too sure there's much else I need to cover other
I guess that was just
than
the winning turn of the cup. Yeah.
yeah, the pricing was really great. Thank you for Max for that.
Yeah.
I now have 50 prize pack series 5 sitting on my desk,
I'm gonna
which
say no one has any sealed product right now, so it's just like a lot of store credit and 50 prize packs.
Yeah.
the start credit wasn't bad. I got an expansion for Wingspan. I got the European one, and I
Ooh,
got
nice.
Altart Blastoise, which is now in actually it's still in the top loader. I need to put in my binder, but I also for the playmat I ended up just giving it to my opponent. I already have one shipping from my other cup weekend,
Oh,
and
that's right. Yeah.
I just felt like it was a great game, and I kind of just cheesed him out of the win with a donk and just Mawile bullshit. So
No, you're better
I
than
don't
I
need
am
two
because
mats. I don't need two
I
mats. What
do
am I
too.
gonna do for second mat? Like
Put it on your wall. Make a
You
blanket
do.
out of
I
it.
don't,
You do.
Make
Are,
a
you
two
are
quilt.
mats
making
on
a
the wall
wall.
looks
Make
stupid.
a
We'll play
championship.
one mat and put one mat on the wall.
Yeah.
I don't care that much about it, man.
But yeah.
I'll just win a third mat. Who cares?
True.
There you go.
There you go.
Congratulations again to
Absolutely.
your accomplishment. Back-to-back cup wins, especially with a deck like Guardian, especially with that unconventional build. Nothing to scoff at. Very, very good stuff. Um, so a little, and if we're ready to move on,
Absolutely.
it's a little anticlimactic to recap my run as I did not end up winning, but I still did very well. And I'm still very proud of how I played. Mason, I don't even have my deck list pulled up.
I have your Guardy
It's a
list
lot.
up.
Yeah, it's a lot more standard. The Drifloon Bravery Charm build. I net decked it from somewhere. I honestly don't remember and started making some tweaks. Nothing super notable in this list. I think every card pulled its weight. I got use out of everything. Mawile, Badoo, uh, Drifloon Bravery Charm, the whole works. Definitely, I think any changes I make going towards the future is I got to go to Turo. That's just not. I didn't hit any Dragapult, but that's just how you win that matchup is by Turoing damage off. And I was having a hard time finding Turo in some other matchups when I would have liked it. Being able to pal pad the boss back in for a second gust without requiring counter catcher is kind of nice, but I feel like the Turo is just that much more important. And another stadium is something Lily might notice this too, is something I wouldn't hate. Just to make sure those jamming towers and stuff are staying out of play, and maybe a Temple of Citadel Lugia matchup. It's still a little early, and I think I need to do more testing, but I do really like this list as a place to start. Anyways, my matchups in the cup, round one was Gardymir with Alex Szymanski again. I just kind of rolled over him. He did not get set up at all. He was very clearly dead drawing. Started with one Ralts and had to Badoo me for a couple of turns. I think he ended up only taking one prize against me that game. It was just a very, very clearly bricky game from his side of the field. And I was just kind of seeing everything I needed to. Wasn't a lot of skill involved in that win, which I don't need to admit on a podcast. No, there was a lot of skill involved in me beating a regional finalist, actually. Round two was Roaring Moon, same player who made it the cup finals with Lily. That matchup was a little scarier. I was having a hard time getting set up. I prized Badoo, so I couldn't even hide behind that after I whiffed my turn one TM Evo. I ended up my first attack of the game after he'd taken two prizes was my first attack was screen tailing a Squawk for not even a full kill. It was just 120 or something like that. And then 120 doesn't even get you to a single monkey ping to knock it out, which was frustrating. I think I actually did it for 140. Actually, no, I was one monkey ping away because I have a monkey ping in that next turn for the KO. Scream tailing. I think they were able to hit heads on a Pokemon catcher, gust up my Guardy, and get even further in prizes. I put damage on their Latias. They take another knockout, and I forget if I recounted the prize trade properly up to this point, but suffice to say, they have one prize left. I have four, and there's a lot of damage on their Latias. I noticed they milled their Pecharunt EX off of a Pokestop, played two Night Stretchers. I didn't know how many Night Stretchers the list played. I'm assuming not that many. So I go for the Tempting Trap play on their Latias, and I do that for 3 turns in a row, and they're just not drawing anything to get it out of play because all they need to do is take a single prize, and they have 3 powered up moons on the bench. And I'm only going into so much detail here because it's kind of a crazy play. I was waiting for a Gust to gust up one of their damaged bench Pokemon, take a knockout with that with Guardy or something, and then Monkey Ping to take out the Latias, which already had some damage on it. But they throw me a bit of a curveball. They notice that I have no energy left to attach to any of my Pokemon. They're all either in the discard pile or on the field already. So they gust up my Greninja with Boss and pass it back to me, meaning I have a Greninja stuck in the active, no energy to retreat it. I can't Tempting Trap again, so next turn they just retreat into anything and take another prize. But in my prize cards are my last counter catcher, a Psychic Energy, and then I think a Vessel and a Heavy Ball or something. If I Monkey Ping KO their Latias and draw my last Psychic Energy and last counter catcher, I win the game. And otherwise, there's just no other options I have available. So I go for it, and I pull those 2 prize cards so I can manual retreat the Greninja counter catcher and make my whole play. So a little long-winded, but I just had to take a total 50-50 shot of do I draw the prizes I need, and I did. Next round is Raging Bolt, nothing special there, just kind of a Guardy Bolt matchup. It's not very favored for them, and they were bricking anyways. And then I hit Lugia, which can be kind of scary, especially if they get in early Iron Hands. Story of my life this cup, also bricking. They end up having to go single chops very early. This is where I make a bit of a misplay. They do single chops. They Luminion. They started Luminion. They do the legacy energy DTE, do a whatever the Luminion attack is,
Aqua
shuffle it
Loop.
back into the deck. Aqua Loop, yeah. So in their field, they also had a Drapion on their bench and they attached an energy to it for turn, meaning they just need one primal turbo to it and they can knock out my Guardy, which I was very scared of. So instead of going for the solo Archeops and effectively sacrificing my Guardy next turn if they find a double turbo energy, I go for the Drapion. And he told me afterwards if I had gone for the Archeops, I would have won the game right there because he had no attack afterwards. So that was just me maybe not thinking that one through,
Wait,
and
does
I'll
the
know for the future.
Drapion have double turbo on it
It
already?
had a double turbo on it.
Doesn't
What
that put it
Drapion
out of
are we
range?
talking about here?
The one from the Mew Killer.
That's still legal?
I thought it does 170. Is it 190?
It's 190.
Did it have 2 energies or did it just have 1 DT on it?
I think it might have had 2 energies. I might
Okay,
be
if it
mistaken.
has 2 energies, that makes sense. If it has DT on it, attaching a second DT puts it to 150 for not killing Guardy.
You're
Well,
correct.
it does get you stuck in the active if you don't have double Monkey Dory, so it's a little
Yeah, that was the
nifty,
thing.
but
I was a little paranoid of my Guardy getting knocked out was all. So I definitely made the incorrect play of going after the Drapion and not the only Archeops on the board. Kill the solo Archeops, kids. That's just always the right play. But I did end up winning the
especially
game
so little energy
anyways
on board.
because I just kept on swinging with my Guardy and he did after the Drapion got knocked out. He was never able to get enough damage in play to knock it out in return. I did my last round because I won 4 up to that. That was the highest seed. Going into top 8, I hit that Roaring Moon player we were talking about earlier. Round 1 is pretty uncomfortable and not fun because I just start doing him. He has a Squawkabilly inactive, and he concedes after about 6 turns of irritating pollen or itchy pollen or whatever it's called. And he reveals to me, I knew he had discarded a lot of energy immediately. He had a lot of Essels in the opening hand. He revealed to me his Prime Catcher was prized. His Prime Catcher and Latias were prized, and then he accidentally milled a Petron off a Pokestop. So that Squawkabilly was, he needed a 1 manual attach. If he found his last 2 dark energy in a full deck. Game 2, he goes second, definitely has a bit of an advantage there, and just it's a little bit closer, a little bit more back and forth. I don't remember all the specifics. He's very smart with his resources, saves a lot of his gusts, bosses, prime catcher, all that stuff, and takes out my Guardy on some pretty key turns of the game when I'm not able to find a Turo to get it out of play. Just ends up winning that one straight up. And then game 3 is just an absolute rolled me over. I was able to I went second, got the TM Evo off, and he just moved so much faster than I did. He was swinging with the baby Roaring Moon, so not even giving me that 2 prize option of the big one. Didn't need to put a lot of his other 2 prizers in play, so I didn't have a lot of options to swing up the prize trade. He played that match very well and capitalized on my slower start, and it was over pretty quickly. So that was the end of my tournament run. Ended up getting top 8. Pretty happy with how I played. I was running on not a lot of sleep, and I hadn't played Guardy in person in quite a while. It's a pretty mentally taxing deck, as I'm sure most people are aware. But it still felt really good. Every card pulled its weight, and I think Badoo is extremely strong in this format. I'm really excited to see where the list takes me in the future.
Nice. That's awesome. I don't really have a tournament to recap this week. I was planning to go to the Cup yesterday, but I had spent the entire week practicing for Prismatic. Again, as I said, I've been a POW and a Trapper player, and even with a couple changes that I had tried in the decks, neither of them felt very playable against Badoo, which I expected there to be a lot of. I mean, I knew
There's so
a
many
few.
Guardy.
I expected to, yeah. I thought Guardy would be popular, especially because I knew a couple of my teammates were going to be there. I'm sitting here thinking okay, who am I going to see in Top Cut? It's going to be my teammates because we're the best. I know my teammates are bringing Badoo. I'm just not prepared. I wasn't able to get ready for it in my testing, so I skipped, and I have been testing more and more. Honestly, I so far have arrived on Guardy, pretty much the same list as Chris and some other teammates. So that's where I'm at.
Also notable, a good friend of ours, Gwen, if anyone is familiar with Tricky Jim and watched his stream over this weekend, she won the Full Grip Games Cup, which might have been a 1K. I'm not sure.
I don't remember.
With a Guardy list that's very similar to mine. I think we're 1 card off, maybe 2 cards.
I think it has
Um,
double Turo.
It
and,
has
like,
double
Yes.
Turo, and it has. If I could look at your list again, let me pull it back up.
It's double. I know it's double Turo, no
Turo,
Palpad.
cut
And
Palpad for a Turo. There is a second nest ball for I don't know what.
I don't know what the exchange was there.
is there Moonlit Hill or double Artisan?
No Moonlit Hill, no double Artisan.
Oh, what? Okay,
I
hold
don't
on.
know what the card cut is, but there is a
I
second
know
nest
you
ball.
guys posted what
I
the
guess-
changes was.
Yeah. Point of that being, Guardy's a really strong list right now, and you definitely should put a lot of time into practicing it if you're interested in that. But it's just kind of really inherently powerful with Badu. You know, there's been a bit of a debate about whether or not Badu actually belongs in Guardy. I'm of the opinion
I think
that
it does.
it's in there, and quite frankly, it probably stays there. At least as long as there's players playing this game that don't know how to deal with it, and I think that's always going to be the case.
I might be wrong on
Um,
this. Oh, sorry.
What?
Oh, I was saying I might be wrong on this, but I was thinking another like slightly controversial card in Guardy is Mawile. I think from what I've seen, people are kind of like the community is kind of 50-50 on Mawile
That's
and
good to bring
Guardy.
up.
I agree with it. I know Gwen actually was saying that she was going to cut it, but I think it should be
Yeah.
there.
Gwen was not a fan because she didn't use it at all. It is not relevant most games, but it will just cheese you wins out of nowhere. And I think for a one card inclusion that capitalizes on how, you know, I don't want to say dishonest like Omnipoke Joe would, but like you know, on lists that kind of skimp out on the Switch cards and all that jazz. You can kind of catch them in a trap. And then again, cheese these wins out of nowhere that you really shouldn't have had otherwise. I think Lily's made some extremely messed up plays with Mawile.
90 damage is my favorite part of the card.
Yeah, everyone forgets that second half.
Oh yeah.
I think it is, you know, it's not relevant in most games, but it will win you, just straight up win you a game out of nowhere. And for a one card inclusion, I think that's super worth.
I just even I think it pushes a lot of your numbers. Even if you're swinging with Mawile, like I've had a couple practice games where attempting trap into a bite from Mawile into like and basically any support Pokemon, like specifically Fez.
Mhm.
I think with a Monkey Dory ping that kills.
Yeah,
I was gonna say,
and it
so-
also
yeah,
just
that's
is a free
90 plus
turn for
90,
you.
so you're doing 180.
Yeah, math there, tempting trap, 90 plus 90. Lily just said bite takes 3 energy to power up. Double
Which is a
monkey
free
ping, or
double
even-
monkey ping.
Even a single monkey ping, you're swinging 210. That's like every support Pokemon getting knocked out. Double monkey is 240. That's every basic in the game that's not a blood moon before bravery charm. Again, that's just too good.
Okie dokie
pass
EX.
You know
Okie
what?
Dokie does have 260.
That might
Thank
just
you
be
for
a bad
reminding me of
matchup.
that very
On my
relevant
tournament,
card.
It mattered.
It
I
did.
couldn't kill that stupid Okie Dokie because they only ran dark types, and
Mhm.
Namorous doesn't match with any of that. But you know,
Mhm. Yeah, consensus from the Delta Stream podcast is that Guardy is an extremely good deck.
Play it with
You
Mawile. Play it
You
with
should be
Badu.
playing it. You should be playing it with Mawile and Badu. At the very least, you should know how to play against it.
Definitely.
Or
Or
should be
don't
playing
actually.
with Namorous. Yeah, I think that's only me, but
I think that's just you.
maybe just you on that.
And
one,
Amherst
Lily.
isn't bad. I think as this meta develops, this is kind of my predictions. As this meta develops, people will be like, okay, crap, Guardy is like by far the best deck. People are gonna start putting the vacuums back, and then I think the Enamorous like actually has some real merit there. Where it's like, okay, we're losing because our opponents are getting free prize cards off our Drifloons. I mean, the Enamorous is
I
a
feel like
solution
it's
to
a-
that.
such a good surprise factor
It
card.
is,
Though
absolutely.
my worry is
The-
how
the
good
amount of
Dragapult
times-
becomes because the deck just falls off a little bit into Dragapult because you can't nuke one like you
Yeah,
can at the.
Dragapult's absolute next
Dragapult,
best
yeah.
deck, if not better than Guardy. Just for how well it's matched up into Guardy and how much it's okay with seeing Badu because it wants to evolve through all stages of its evolution line.
Mhm.
But in that case, I mean, even if you're able to get the early Devo, you can slow them down for like a turn if they're going for. You can basically force them to candy on turn 2 or 3 if you hit the
Are
turn 2 Devo.
all the lists even playing Candy at this point? I'm not super familiar
Yeah,
with them.
usually it's like one
I've
or
seen
two.
at least 1 to 2.
At
in
least
most
a
If,
cases.
couple
if
that
it's a
burst into play.
Dragapult Dusknoir list, they're usually running.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
Oh well,
yeah.
okay, I
I've
guess
seen a lot of that.
Pult Thorns doesn't play it at all.
Pult Thorns.
But I think that's kind of
Thorns
fallen
doesn't
off
even run
anyways.
any. No, it's usually
Yeah.
all just 0 candy.
I think that's fallen off a bit anyways.
Yeah.
If it was even there in the first
Even that
place.
though, forcing out candies it feels really strong right now, especially just between like Badu. You know, you're able to turn those off at any point in the game if you need to.
Mhm.
and if we want to put the what is it? Not Togedemaru, the other little Pika clone. Can't remember.
Dedenne?
Dedenne. If you want to put the Dedenne back, you can get your debug back.
I'm less convinced on the
I don't know about the Dedenne,
I would
but-
rather
Luke.
play Silene over Dedenne.
How
and
about
I was gonna
second
say,
Evo?
I
No,
tested
second Evo's
Silene
not.
once, landed double tails, and just I hate the card. I don't know. The fact that you have to use your attack if Dedenne makes it.
I think when
Not
you're
great.
already playing from behind, you don't want to just give them another free prize.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's where the deck could end up. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll figure out
Yeah.
where Lily takes
Just
it.
some
and just
ideas for
take
the
her to
future.
list.
Yeah,
just
we'll see
start-
what random psychic nonsense I end up playing. I'm gonna find some new psychic garbage Pokemon to play in the list, and you guys are gonna
There's-
get mad at me again. But you know,
It's got to be
that's
out
fine.
there. Well, if you keep on winning cups with it, we
Can't be
can't really
mad.
argue that.
Results don't lie.
yeah.
And they're not like cheap results either. I mean, you're talking about beating Shemansky Cup finalist in was it top 4? Like
Top 8.
top
Top
8.
eight.
Yeah, it's not like it was like a fraudulent cup or anything.
Oh yeah.
No, no,
Well,
no.
Enamorus was a fraud in that matchup. I literally didn't play it the entire match, and I was like, after the game ended, I was like, I didn't play my funny card, so here it is. He's like, I think that card's terrible. The second he read it.
Probably not wrong.
Yeah,
It's
I
terrible right
disagree,
now.
but-
You might just be ahead
Yeah,
of the
it's-
curve.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's
If
too early for an Amorous.
I would play this to a prismatic regional if I had any, but I'm not. So
We'll
I
hold
would-
you to
yeah.
that if your plans change.
Absolutely.
Um,
If we want,
think-
I think
move
there's any
on
in the
here.
U.S. though. There's like Puerto Rico special.
It's
event,
Puerto
that's
Rico
really
is
it.
Guess
the
we're going to Puerto
one.
Rico.
all right. Heck
God,
yeah, it's warmer there than
NAIC
here.
is
This
already $1 million
warmer there than
for a
here this
flight.
time of year. I was gonna say, I think we might be coming up on the end,
Towards the end.
perhaps. I don't know how long we want this to be.
The
Yeah.
agenda says outro/future goals. I guess we could start. Lily, what are your future goals?
Day 2 again. Really.
Fair enough.
I'm nearly maxed out on my cup points now, so I'm really hoping home run tournament run at a regional and somehow squeeze in a worlds invite, but that's still really far fetched. I gotta swing some top 16, top 8 regional runs, so maybe not, but I'd like to try my best, especially given that I'm pretty successful with Pokemon right now, especially coming into 2025.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, what are your future goals?
I'd like to day 2 a tournament or day 2 a regional. No, again there, just in the first place. I've been playing for, a little bit longer than both of you, and I just haven't been seeing the results I wanted to see yet. This season was very much a grind it out and get better, and I think overall I've been achieving that so far. Definitely seeing a lot better success at the local level, and my regional runs have been deeper, even if they're not a day 2 quite yet. It's very slow improvement, but it is consistent. So yeah, day 2, and we'll see where we go from there.
For me, I mean, of course, I think day 2 is I'm just gonna like crap on your goals. It's a very like easy goal to set. It's very like achievable. I'm not saying not easy it's not bad. Not bad. It's my goal as well. I want a day 2.
It's
It's
not
a
like
very-
saying I want to win a regional as my next goal
Right.
without a day 2.
It's a
Let's be honest.
realistic and tangible goal, but I think my more broader goal is I really really just want to like improve myself and see myself playing at the highest level in general. And I think I've really been achieving that. I think I put in some hours into Rapid Ghost and I've really upped my play with that, just the lines that you're able to pull off with that deck. Moving over to Guardian now because I feel like that's the next level, so that's where I'm going to put my practice in and see if I can take that to the highest level. But that's kind of my goal.
For sure.
All right.
All right.
Oh.
I think that about wraps it up. Nothing else on our agenda.
Nope.
This has been the Delta Stream podcast. Not sure where or when this is going to end up getting uploaded. Not sure if you'll even see this episode. Very, very much a test pilot type thing, figuring out the format and all that. I'm sure if we continue with this, we're going to have more guests on, plenty more members of the division that are able to give us
Absolutely.
insight in other areas of the game, other decks and stuff like that. Don't imagine we'll have a schedule. We'll probably just upload whenever people get relevant results or there's stuff going on in the community we want to talk about. If you have made it this far, thank you.
so
I don't
much.
know. I can't imagine.
I don't know
I'll be
why you're
honest.
here.
I don't know why you're here. Again,
Thanks a
point of the
lot.
podcast. We're a bunch of nobodies talking about Pokemon. We might be somebody someday. So if you're listening to us right now, we appreciate you getting in on the ground level of this this top player incubation chamber.
Right.
Anyone else have anything to say before we sign off?
Plans for next week. I know maybe talking about having
Oh, yeah.
Max, our judge friend, on. We mentioned how well he ran his cup. So if you're interested, maybe like a little more insight into what it's like doing that. I know it was an
Mhm.
idea we tossed around. So
And then there are a couple more cups next weekend as well that
we'll hopefully have
Lily
results
might
to
win
report
again.
back.
I'll try my best.
um,
When is the next one? Super Bowl weekend? Is it like Super Bowl
Perfect.
Sunday?
it's there's one on Saturday.
Oh, okay. I might go to that one then.
Yeah.
We'll see.
All right. Well,
Other
thank you
than
for
that-
watching.
Yeah. Thank you for watching the Delta Stream podcast.
See ya.
Have a good one.